I was hunting for fossils on a trail most people don't know about. If you don't know about it, you probably won't find it. It doesn't look like much, so I was surprised when I heard someone behind me. I didn't see anything at first, and then I saw the creepy man. Just kidding. That creepy-looking man is my brother. Hi all, I'm Geology Joes, and today I'm taking my family on a little geology adventure to do some fossil hunting. We are heading down south to Kentucky to an outcrop known as the Maysville roadcut, which is famous within the paleontology community and for very good reason. The over 1 kilometer long roadcut features approximately 450 million year old fossils. You heard that right. Almost 500 million year old fossils from 3 different formations, the Kope, Fairview, and Belleville. The formations are primarily shale and limestone, and they are chock full of fossils. Literally so many fossils. Here you can find the rare relative of the starfish known as Ordovician, pockets of flower-like crinoid heads, cyclocystoids. Oh my god. Here you can find the rare relative of the starfish known as Ordovician, pockets of flower-like crinoid heads, cyclocystoids, and roly-poly-like trilobites and their burrows, as well as many others. Oh my god, I can't believe I was able to say that. Man, paleontologists, I give props to you because the frickin' terms, man, I don't know how you do it. Okay, but why are there so many amazing fossils here? To find out, we'll have to go back about 500 million years to a time period known as the Ordovician. During the Ordovician, the land that is now northeastern Kentucky was covered by a warm, shallow sea and was about 23 degrees south of the equator. Today, it is about 38 degrees north of the equator. That's a lot of movement thanks to plate tectonics. The major supercontinent that existed during the Ordovician is known as Gondwana, which was concentrated around the southern hemisphere, leaving most of the northern hemisphere underwater, spare a few isolated land masses. During the late Ordovician, from 460 to 450 million years ago, volcanoes along the margin of the ancient Iapetus Ocean spewed massive amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, turning the planet into a hot house. The marine waters are assumed to have been around 113 degrees Fahrenheit, which is extremely hot. The hottest ocean temperatures you will find on Earth today are around 82 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's a big difference. It was around this time that the Great Ordovician Biodiversity Event occurred. The GOBE, as it is known, is a period in Earth's history when a dramatic and significant increase in marine biodiversity occurred over just 30 million years, which is super fast in geologic time. The GOBE was caused by a combination of geological and biological processes. The warm climate, high sea levels, isolated land masses, and rapid seafloor spreading likely gave rise to changing ocean currents and increased nutrient and habitat availability. During this time, the largest tropical shelf area of the Phanerozoic also existed, providing optimal conditions for sea life. Over time, as volcanic emissions stopped, the ocean temperatures cooled and became comparable to those of present-day equatorial waters, also aiding in increased complexity of ecosystems and biodiversity. During this time, taxonomic orders doubled, families tripled, and new species never seen before popped up all across the globe. During this warm period, sea level rose and continued until around 445 million years ago. Some geologists believe that an asteroid impact around this time may have triggered a period of cooling known as the Hirnantian glaciation, and later an extinction event where 85% of species on Earth died out. This extinction event happened in 2 phases. The first phase occurred when Gondwana became largely glaciated. When glaciation occurs, sea level drops, exposing more land to erosion, and causes ocean currents to change, which drastically impacts marine ecosystems and available habitat. The erosion of silicate minerals found in over 90% of Earth's surface can also cause CO2 levels to drop by acting as a carbon sink, further leading to cooling. The second phase occurs as glaciers began retreating, leading to sea level rise. One consequence of melting glaciers is marine anoxia, which is a drop in dissolved oxygen in the ocean. Melting ice caps release fresh water onto the ocean's surface, creating a barrier to deep water circulation and cutting off the supply of oxygen which marine life needs. The extinction at the end of the Ordovician period is the oldest and second largest of the big 5 main extinction events. The Ordovician extinction was almost twice as severe as the KT extinction event that is famous for killing the dinosaurs 66 million years ago. All of the major animal groups of the Ordovician Ocean survived, including trilobites, brachiopods, corals, and crinoids. But each lost important members. Some research suggests that animals began to move onto land after this extinction event, but other research suggests animals began leaving the oceans during the GOBE. What do you think? Were animals driven from the sea due to harsh anoxic conditions, or did the biodiversity during the GOBE extend farther than we originally thought? The exposed formations at the Maysville outcrop were deposited during the GOBE just before the Ordovician Mass Extinction event. This is the reason why we can find so many fossils and so many different species here. Unfortunately, the layers that would have been deposited during the mass extinction event have been lost to erosion. As I mentioned, we have 3 formations that make up the roadcut: the Kope, Fairview, and Belleville. You might be asking, why is the roadcut broken up into 3 formations if they all represent the same period more or less? And what even is a formation? In geology, a formation refers to a distinct body of rock with consistent physical characteristic that sets it apart from the surrounding rock layers. A formation consists of similar rock types that were originally continuous and created by related depositional events and environments. Physical characteristics used to differentiate formations are its composition and how it is exposed over an area. Physical characteristics may include what rock type is commonly found in this formation, what fossils are found, if any, and if there are sedimentary structures within the formation like crossbedding. The Kope Formation is the lowest and oldest layer at the Maysville roadcut. It represents a deep offshore depositional environment where fine sediment would have been able to settle, giving rise to predominantly shale with some limestone. Common fossils found are cephalopods, crinoids, gastropods, bryozoans, brachiopods, and trilobites. I was really after a trilobite on this trip, but unfortunately I did not find any. Trace fossils, also known as ichnofossils, are everywhere in this formation, and I mean everywhere. Trace fossils are fossils that show the behavior of organisms, and they can include tracks, borings, burrows, and even fossilized poop. They are also great indicators of environmental conditions. The more trace fossils you have and the more types you have in a formation, the more hospitable the environment would have been. Above the Kope is the Fairview, which has a larger abundance of limestone compared to the Kope. The majority of the fossils can be accessed in the lower part of the Fairview. The upper portion of the Fairview is very difficult to access, and I could not find a good way to it. You can pretty much find the same fossils here as you would in the Kope, but the trilobites are less abundant. Additionally, cephalopods in the Fairview are larger than those found in the Kope because of more advantageous environmental conditions during the time the Fairview was deposited. In the upper Fairview Formation is a thick, light-colored limestone bed known as a seismite horizon, which includes limestone breccia. This has been interpreted as a portion of the ancient Ordovician seafloor that was significantly disturbed by a paleo earthquake. To get to the youngest and uppermost layer, known as the Bellevue Formation, we had to cross the highway. If you do this, make sure you are extremely careful because cars are speeding down this road at over 60 miles per hour. We decided to drive across the road instead of running across. Just behind the exposed road cut, there's a steep trail that will take you all the way to the top of the formation, and it's definitely worth the hike. This was both mine and my brother's favorite layer. Within the prevalent layers of shale, the biggest and most beautiful well-defined brachiopods can be found, which you can't really find in the other layers. Here you can find full brachiopods and even what I like to call brachiopod geodes. There's another one. There's another one. See, look.
Oh, that one's so much cooler. That's so cool.
That one is crazy. Yeah, I knew we would find some. Yeah, you can see the brachiopods.
Within the brachiopod fossils, calcite crystals can grow. This happens when water flows through the holes in the formation, depositing calcium over a period of time. So how rare is it to have a rock cut like this so full of fossils? Well, fossils in of themselves are pretty rare. Less than 1% of all life on Earth has been preserved in the fossil record. In order for an organism to be preserved in the fossil record, you must have several things. Hard parts like shells or bones are more likely to be preserved. Additionally, these parts need to be rapidly buried upon death and then left undisturbed for a very, very long time. The oceans in the Ordovician period were optimal for fossil preservation. Shallow, clear waters over continental shelves encourage the growth of organisms that deposit calcium carbonates in their shells and hard parts. Remains would have been rapidly buried, allowing mineral-rich fluids to seep into their shells and tissues, essentially turning them into stone and preserving their detailed structures. Calcium carbonate is excellent at preserving fossils as compared to other preservation methods, giving rise to some of the pristine pieces found here. You can spend hours at this road cut chopping away at the limestone and shale. And we did. We completely lost track of time.
Yeah, and it's really fun.
Look at this.
Oh, I found a full one.
Oh, you did? Dang, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry on that. That was like a cluster of them.
Oh, yeah. That's a good little cluster. I like that little cluster. Yeah, it's just like, as you dig through it, you just find so many of them.
You don't need to be a geologist, fossil fanatic, or even outdoorsy to appreciate this place. If you ever have the opportunity, I highly recommend visiting this outcrop and taking a few specimens home. We certainly did. I hope you found this video entertaining and educational. If you have any suggestions for how to improve my content or a topic you would like discussed, drop them down in the comments section below. If you love all things geology, I post almost every week, so don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. I'll see you next time.